This is a centrally located, very important, very large African country. We are concerned that other partners, other nations will be affected by this, not just in the region but beyond. So that's why we're working so hard to get this violence stopped.
Welcome back to Power Play. To Sudan now. The northeastern African country, as you heard there, is engulfed in violent conflict, and civilians and foreigners are caught in the crosshairs. The violence stems from a power struggle between the country's army and a paramilitary group known as the RSF. Tensions between the warring factions came to a head less than 2 weeks ago, and since then, at least 420 civilians have been killed and thousands more injured, according to the World Health Organization. The UN is trying to broker a ceasefire to get aid to people who need it. 16 million of them in Sudan already access emergency and food aid. This crisis is only exacerbating that need. You heard from the White House just a moment ago. They're worried about the risk of a proxy war. Is Canada concerned? Bob Rae is Canada's ambassador to the UN. Hi, Ambassador Rae. Good to have you on our program. Thanks for making the time.
Thank you, Vassy. Good to be with you.
I can appreciate you might not have a direct role in this, but we're having difficulty getting much confirmation from the government. So I did want to start off just by asking you if you can confirm reports that 6 Canadian diplomats were evacuated from Sudan over the weekend.
Yes, that's true. And another group of a large convoy, a UN convoy, with up to close to 1,000 people, has traveled all the way to Port Said in the northeast coast of Sudan, and they are hoping to be evacuated. There are some more people that are leaving via Darfur and to Chad, and there's another group of people that are heading south to South Sudan, to Juba. But it's very difficult. Khartoum is, if you look at a map, is not close to any particular exit, and the airports have been closed because of the fighting between the two sides.
So will there be then, after the efforts you're just describing there, if they are able to leave, will there be any Canadian diplomatic presence left in Sudan?
Not of Canadian passport holders, no. There's a locally engaged staff, but our embassy is itself closed. We've asked the ambassador to get to Nairobi if possible, or to wherever they can, to begin to set up a temporary setup that they can do some work and connect with what's going on in Khartoum. The plan is to resume in Khartoum as soon as it's safe. Right now, it's a battle zone, so it's very dangerous for anybody to be there. And we've already seen some people working for the World Food Program have been killed in the fighting, and others. So we want to avoid that as much as we can. Is
the ambassador among those who were airlifted out this weekend?
Yes.
Okay, and he is headed to Nairobi. Is that accurate?
Well, I think so. I mean, I can't confirm that because, as you point out, I'm only doing this out of a sense of duty to let Canadians know what exactly is happening. But
okay.
Yes, and as soon as that's set up, we'll let people know. We're hoping to be able to resume our work. And our key work is consular. The thing to remember is there are a lot of Canadian passport holders in Sudan. That is to say, Canadian citizens who are probably also Sudanese citizens. And they no doubt will be asking for assistance as time goes on.
You kind of led me to my next question, because there are just under 1,600, my understanding is, Canadian passport holders in Sudan. I
think there are more. Actually, I think there are more than. There's 1,600 that are registered.
Okay, so beyond that, right?
You know, not everybody registers with the Canadian Embassy. We encourage people to do that, but not everybody does. So we don't know exactly how many, but we know there's at least 1,600.
The situation, as you describe it, as we've seen in many different accounts, is incredibly difficult on the ground right now and incredibly violent. Are there going to be efforts made to try and assist those Canadians who are there? Is that really a possibility?
It's difficult, to be honest. I mean, it's about making sure that we're working in tandem and cooperation with a whole bunch of other countries that have also got passport holders there. They're going to try and do this on a coordinated basis. And so I think our best advice to everybody is to stay as safe as you possibly can, and not to go outside if you can avoid it. Obviously, that's easy for me to say sitting here, but I think that's the best we can do at the moment, because getting people evacuated in the numbers that are going to be required, if that's what's required, is going to be difficult. And we want to avoid people, clamoring, desperate to get to an airport. The airports are closed. Convoys are not, traveling by your own in a car on a highway. There's no predicting what can happen. So we're advising people not to take those kinds of measures into their own hands. And there will be real efforts made by everybody, including the UN, to try to make sure that people are kept safe. But the main thing is to try to get to a ceasefire. That's what we're preoccupied with. That's what the Secretary General's trying to do on an hourly basis, is talk to both sides and get people to back down. We're also talking to the African Union officials in Addis Ababa to get them to play a role. I mean, this is a breakdown in civil order. Both sides are heavily armed. Mm-hmm. It's a very dangerous situation.
They're heavily, and it appears equally armed. 5 of those ceasefire attempts so far have failed. What does that tell you, and how difficult does it make the UN's job right now?
Well, anybody's in this mediation position, it's difficult, because if you've got heavily armed groups where both sides are pitching for power, and it's a power grab by both sides. I mean, that's the problem. There's no great ideology here. There's no great, difference of worldview that we can tell at the moment. This is about two teams that are fighting it out, and it's extremely dangerous. And because the army is well equipped, they've all taken whatever equipment they can and are doing a lot of damage. Tragically, a lot of civilians are getting killed in the bombing and in the shooting and the artillery fire and the gunfire that's taking place. A lot of citizens are losing their lives. It's a terrible situation.
The spokesperson for the National Security Council on behalf of the White House today, John Kirby, was talking about the concern from the U.S. administration around the possibility of a proxy war. How worried are you about that?
Well, I mean, the worry that I have, frankly, I mean, among other things, is the so-called Wagner Group, which is the Russian private army, which is very active all through these parts of Africa, all the way over from the west to the east. They're doing terrible damage, and they do not follow any rules of war, any rules of combat, any notion of Geneva Conventions or any other conventions. They don't follow those. They just kill, murder, maim, intimidate, and then take over. So that's one group that we're very concerned about. And you never know which other groups are going to be moving in and trying to take charge. So this is why I say it's a very dangerous situation.
Okay, Ambassador, I'll leave it on that note. Thank you very much for your time and your insights this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good to talk to you.